I have been given a few questions by Tamil Guardian. I will read out the question and then I will also answer them. Question number 1. Sri Lanka has made little to no progress in implementing repeated UN resolutions and has now stated it will be withdrawing from the UNHRC process completely. What does this mean for accountability and notice and justice for the crimes committed against the Tamil people? What actions must the Tamil people now take to ensure justice is served? If not the UNHRC, then where and how can accountability be obtained? How will you and your party engage with international actors in ensuring this? Let me respond to that question. Withdrawing from co-sponsorship does not prohibit the UNHRC pursuing the process. Sri Lanka co-sponsored the consensus resolution which expected certain commitments and actions from Sri Lanka. Now Sri Lanka has withdrawn its co-sponsorship. But the process goes on. We must remember that. In fact, we would have preferred if Sri Lanka did not co-sponsor. It was Sri Lankan foxiness at its height to delay and dissipate the process. Therefore, the process must go on and will go on. We will take all legal and political activities to ensure the continued existence of Tamil people in Sri Lanka and to protect them from genocide, and as a next step to refer Sri Lanka to the International Criminal Court or to a specially created International Criminal Tribunal for war crimes and crimes against humanity. So those are actions which we intend taking. In any event, we would be knocking at the door of the UN to obtain a resolution which calls for referendum in the north and east of Sri Lanka to find out what the people of the north and east want as their solution to their problem. We will be part of the process. We will be part of the process. The rest of the country cannot say they too need to vote at the referendum, since this applies to the people of north and east only. Because there are certain people who say, then if there is a referendum, it should go to the whole island. No, the whole island need not vote on what is best for the north and east. It's the people of north and east who should tell what they would like to have. North and east were never occupied by Sinhalese in great numbers or members. The Tamil speaking people have always occupied them from prehistoric times, certainly at least 1,000 years before Sinhala language was born. So north and east and maybe parts of the western province have always been Tamil speaking and have always been occupied by people who spoke the Tamil language. So that is with regard to the question number 1. Question number 2, how will your party work with Muslim actors to protect from Sinhalization, particularly in the eastern province? How will your party work to build better relations between the two nations? Many Tamil actors have faced criticism for Islamophobia and siding with hardline anti-Muslim elements. How will that be addressed? Let me give you my response. We have already put out in our manifesto that we are for a separate unit for Muslims in the eastern province. That is, we have provided for a separate unit. The Muslims and the Tamils in the east have been living in enmity until the war. Unfortunately, xenophobic rhetoric against Muslims has significantly increased recently in the wake of the parliamentary elections. The media is reproducing and reinforcing negative stereotypes and hate speeches based on the political statements and actions of some of our power-hungry politicians. This trend is most apparent in the eastern province, particularly in Ampare. You would know who it is. This reinforces the polarization in the society, which is not good for the future of the Tamils and Muslims in this country. So we will pursue the path of reconciliation with the Muslims without giving up nor forfeiting our legitimate rights. Now I come to the question number 3. There is a lack of women representation in Tamil politics. What is your party doing to encourage the involvement of women in politics? Let me respond to that. We are expecting to implement a livelihood scheme with a view to improve the life of war widows living in North and East. As a precursor to this, we are to perform soon a needs assessment among the widows. Although it is insisted that equal chances and opportunities be made available, no action is taken to achieve this. The main reason behind women being unable to solve their problems themselves is the lack of power in their hands. One of the ways to equalize this imbalance is increasing the representation of women in politics. As for our part, we have 2 women contesting out of the 10 candidates for Jaffna Kilinochchi. There is one contesting in Vanni and another in Trinco. Tamil women are now coming out of their self-imposed isolation. As we go on, the numbers contesting will increase. We will engage in pursuing solutions to problems socially encountered by women. Now we come to this 4th question. Let me read that out to you. The North and East lags behind the rest of the island in several development indicators. What plans do you have for uplifting the livelihoods of those in the North and East? How will your party ward against the centralizing of powers within the presidency and ensure that Tamil people have control over their own livelihood? 2 important visions of our party are self-reliance and self-sufficiency. We would like to pursue these visions with the help of the state and our diaspora. Our objective is that the people of the North and East should attain self-dependent state in economy, and their industrial sector should attain growth and development to a level where they could export goods and services. On the basis of this, we will take action to establish an economical research center inducting economic experts in homeland and abroad to undertake research, collecting of information to provide expert advice and for identifying opportunities so as to create economic development in North and East. The main tasks of this center will be undertaking long, medium and short-term development plans, programs in North and East. It would undertake researches relevant to these and collect and maintain statistics relevant to economy and development. At the same time, an economical affairs group will be formed, inclusive of MPs, Koottani stalwarts and intellectuals, to pursue economic development activities on behalf of the Tamil Makkal Thesiya Koottani. India should play a significant role not only to ensure the protection and recognition to the right of self-determination of Tamil people, but also for the social and economic reformation of the North and East. We will pursue all activities needed for this, specifically extension of Palali Airport, inaugurating ship transport between India and to places such as Kankesanture, Trincomalee and Thalaimanar, that will lead to economic investments in North and East and pave the way for massive economic growth, we believe. Relevant to this, the Tamil Makkal Thesiya Koottani will undertake negotiations with Indian central government and the Sri Lankan government. Further, we will engage in activities for taking the economic relationship with the people in Tamil Nadu to a new dimension. We will strengthen the relationship with universities, Chamber of Commerce and investors to create sector-wise development of North and East. We will further strengthen the cooperative sector and undertake projects to build up microeconomy. Then we come to the 5th question. How will your party work with the Tamil diaspora to achieve these aims both politically and economically. What role do you envisage for the diaspora in the future of the Tamil nation? Response: the diaspora would be an important actor in our political, economic and social regeneration. We consider them our people. Their support morally, financially and in other appropriate way is a very essential for us to pursue our goals of self-rule, self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Now that's the question, the answer to that question. Let me read that out again. The diaspora would be an important actor in our political, economic and social regeneration. We consider them our people. Their support morally, financially and in any other appropriate way is essential for us to pursue our goals of self-rule, self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Then we come over to the last question, sixth one. You served as the Chief Minister of Northern Provincial Council. However, despite having only limited powers, the NPC faced criticism for not being able to secure any achievements or any concrete developments to uplift livelihoods during its tenure. What would be your response to that criticism, and going forward, what do you see as your relationship with the Sri Lankan state? And my response to that is, not securing any achievements is a canard propagated by TNA and EPDP mainly. Every cent received from the central government was put to good use. No money was ever returned. Due to our exemplary financial management, my finance minister's ministry, my chief minister's ministry was placed first in the island among nearly 850 departments and ministries. We did uplift the livelihoods of our people by building houses, repairing dilapidated houses, completing unfinished houses, digging wells and providing livelihood needs to war affected families. We discussed with the World Bank and obtained the project to convert seawater into fresh water. We have built windmills to generate electricity. We made extensive progress in the field of tourism. If we got the CM's fund, we could have worked wonders. The government and my own party, then it was the TNA, sabotaged my efforts. Nevertheless, we made considerable progress. Thank you.